I just got the notification. No. Figured it out, guys. Hi, you guys are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. We don't have we kind of do have a guest, I guess. Today's guest is Peter. You will see him a lot on our channel. He is a Bears fan. So you can find him on Twitter or Facebook, probably Twitter or YouTube now.
Yes.
Their Twitter will be in the bio, so if you want to follow them there, please do. When you're not partnered with the Podcast Boys Network, please follow them there. Twitter, X. We are live streaming on their Facebook and their Twitter right now, where you can find anything sports related and I believe 10 other shows. Okay, so we realized after 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we realized after 2 weeks, we really didn't discuss the draft, the schedule that well. So we decided after sleeping on it, figuring stuff out, that we would discuss it with you guys more. So you guys are going to notice a little bit of a different structure this week. I'm going to start it off with the Saints. What do you guys... No, wait. The Eagles, my bad.
Yes.
I these are not in order, apparently. What do you guys think about the Eagles?
Well, I think the Eagles could be tough for an offense with Saquon Barkley now in the fold. But I still think the offensive line will be in a downturn thanks to Jason Kelsey's retirement. And on the other side of the ball, Fletcher Cox retired. But at the same time, they got Cooper DeJean in the draft, and who knows how many Beverly shoves that the Eagles will get away with. But I think it will be a back and forth game until late in the third and fourth quarters, where the Packers should be able to take care of business in Brazil and make those Packers fans in Brazil happy.
Yes. Peter, do you want to go next? And then I'll end it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because I've been going back and forth on this game consistently. It's really going to come down to which Eagles team you're getting. The one that finished the season last year or the one that was rocket ship at the start of the season. Because those are two very different approaches that you would have to take, especially, like you said, with the retirements and stuff. I mean, I think Kelsey's is going to hurt them more because as good as Fletcher Cox was, Jalen Carter seems to be ready to step into that role. Right. So there's not a huge disparity there like there is in having to bring in a new center into albeit very experienced offensive line.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Sorry.
Speaking of Kelsey, I think that he may not come back to play, but because he's trying to lose the playing weight.
Right.
Be there for his family and everything. So best of luck to him on ESPN, and sure there'll be some more sacks for the Packers against Jalen Hurts.
So my thing that we really didn't touch on until Peter and I looked at it more, the flight time from Milwaukee to Brazil is around 13 hours. We looked up today. So saying that, I know it's 2 hours earlier or 1 hour earlier than Eastern, but saying that 13 hours is pretty much the same time to England, if you think about it that way.
13.
So how is that going to interfere with the Packers? I'm wondering. I think the Packers are going to be more tired.
But that line's going to hurt.
I think it's going to be a full day travel trip. What do you guys think?
I think the Packers can solve that by traveling earlier in the week, like traveling on Monday or Tuesday, and then having more practice time and more chances to experience the culture in Brazil before playing the game itself on Friday.
Yeah. That's a great point that you mentioned about the Jason Kelsey news. I wish him all the best in his retirement, obviously. if he comes back to play in the NFL, which I don't think he will, I hope he has a great time working for ESPN now. And yeah.
Yeah, he's replacing Robert Griffin III in the Monday Night Countdown crew.
Thank goodness.
I don't watch much of the ESPN Monday Night Countdown stuff anymore. There's no Chris Berman's not even doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It was much better back in like the early 2010s with Chris Berman, Chris Carter, Mike Ditka, and those guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, like the one other thing I thought of with the travel, especially, and this is actually kind of what concerns me for both teams, especially with it being like the first game of the year and stuff. Athletes in general, but especially football players, are like creatures of habit, and having to play on a day where you've never literally had to play on before since probably high school has got to feel weird, especially when you bring that travel into it and such.
That's a great point that you mentioned. One thing that people have to remember is less people will be watching this game too.
Yeah.
Because there's WWE, wrestling, and high school football, like Peter mentioned before. And it's going to be interesting how many people actually watch this game, considering those two things are in effect.
And also it's on Peacock exclusively.
Right, and it's on Peacock exclusively as well.
Which I hate.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, what I don't get is why they stream me on Peacock, where, if I understand this correctly, Peter, you can correct me, I don't care. Wrestling, WWE is on Peacock, isn't not?
No, their premium, like the live events are, their weekly shows are still on TV.
Okay.
So,
that makes more sense. Because I was confused about that. Okay.
They'll have like the replays of like the weekly shows and stuff on there, but as far as live, it's still televised for now.
Okay, that's what I was like wondering. Okay,
yeah,
because I was thinking if they're both streamed on Peacock, that would bring less people away from the game rather than the WWE.
Yeah. There's gonna be more people watching the Packers Eagles than wrestling.
I don't know. It's starting to come back mainstream a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
And I think also high school football is going to have effect into this.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger one for sure, though, because it's taken basically the entire South out of the market, in all honesty.
Pretty much everyone, though. Like Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin. They do high school football during the fall.
I can imagine parents of high school athletes like watching the Packers game on the phone, and it's like, and they were like, "Woohoo! My son's playing well."
Like, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, do you want to take it away with week 2?
Next up for Packers schedule is on week 2, Sunday, September 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The Indianapolis Colts will be traveling to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers. It'll be on Fox. A couple notes for this game. We still don't know how Anthony Richardson will come back after his shoulder injury last year and the surgery and all that.
Right.
But the running back Jonathan Taylor could still be a threat if we allow him to run for over 100 yards. So the key is to stop the run and to not let Anthony Richardson escape the pocket. And on defense, as for the Packers playing against the Colts defense, it should be manageable. Have plenty of Packers. Jordan Love has plenty of weapons to throw to, and it should be a great first game at Lambeau. Should be a double-digit victory.
Interesting. For me, we don't know how good Anthony Richardson is going to be after the injury. He has practiced recently in training camp, which is a good sign that he's going to be feeling better. Also, one thing to note, Peter, I don't think we mentioned when we were taking up these notes, Anthony Richardson went to school in Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin, the Badgers. So that might have an effect with his homecoming game from his college. So that might have a great effect. And like Peter mentioned when we were taking these notes today, on paper, the Packers are the more talented team. So it's going to be curious how Love does with his home opener at Lambeau. Also, one thing to note is there's probably going to be a lot of fans for this game.
Yeah.
It's Lambeau's home opener.
Twitter tailgate.
Tailgate is going to be full in effect. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Peter, Justin?
I'm okay with. Well, I mean, the Packers should be having their piss off for the home opener. It's at noon central, and shouldn't let all those fans down.
Right.
I tried to do the Twitter tailgate a couple years ago, but things didn't work out in terms of that first game that season, which was in 2022. It would have been against the Bears. It would have been a rainy night, but I got into Lambeau that season in 2022 against Dallas in mid-November, so it was colder.
Right.
So, but I don't think the Colts gonna mess up Indianapolis that much because it's in September, and
Right.
so the weather won't be that much of a factor from either team.
Yeah.
Unless there's wind.
I was gonna say rain could also be in effect. Rain.
Yeah.
I know it's like springtime. Well, summer, spring, whatever you call it. Fall. Fall usually has snow in October. So something that you have to worry about. Coming from a former person that lived in Wisconsin. Rain and snow. It usually snows in October. Or end of October, usually. Or it rains really hard. So that's something in the field's gonna be, I know it's a dome, but have to worry about like wet shoes and wet cleats. How bad is it how bad are players gonna slip on the field? We've seen that with the Bears like a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
I can't throw that in there.
Of course you did.
But weather's gonna be a huge effect for all of these games, I'm thinking. Maybe not the Eagles in Brazil. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I think the rest are going to have some sort of weather effect. And also, we don't know how the Packers' defense is going to be at all. Is it with Jeff Affleck?
New defense coordinator. We're not sure how everything's going to flow during the game.
Yeah.
We have a talent. It's just how that talent is used.
Right. Peter, do you have any thoughts about the Colts?
Yeah, I think like the one additional thing that a lot of people are sleeping on, and I get why, because of not knowing where Richardson's going to be at and stuff in terms of, especially if he has to throw for them to like stay in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Pittman Jr. is still there, and he's, I think, one of the 5 most underrated receivers in the league right now.
Yeah,
for what he's capable of.
I think I saw Michael Pittman got hurt today, though. It was like a muscle soreness.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that today, according to the medical doctor that we all follow, or that most of us follow for like fantasy football. I saw that he got hurt today. It was like knee soreness or something. It was like muscle cramps.
I mean, there were a couple of Packers players that had had issues early, and they should be back by training camp, like Zach Tom and one other.
I saw Josh Jacobs too. So
Josh Jacobs had a hamstring.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are on week 3 with the Titans. Here, I'll go first. Yes. So I'm going to mention one player in specific. Peter knows which one.
Yeah.
Tyjae Spears. That's how you say it, right? Tyjae Spears is a running back. He's pretty much the same athletic as King Derrick Henry, as some people call him. Also, but he's faster. He does have the same wraps, pretty much as Derrick Henry. I think I saw today. What are your guys' thoughts about the Titans game? It is in Tennessee as well.
It's at Nissan Stadium. Yeah, it could be. It could be an easy win depending on how they stop the run with that new running back. It was weird to see Derrick Henry go somewhere else, but maybe the Titans were satisfactory with that new running back, and they were okay with letting Derrick Henry go.
Yeah.
We're not really entirely sure how Will Levis will do as quarterback. But overall, I think it's going to be a double-digit win for Green Bay, and that could be the last time the Packers play the Titans in that stadium because the Titans are planning to have a dome in the future.
Yeah,
near downtown.
Right, very could be. Peter, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that one of the first 3, I think that one's actually probably going to overall be the easiest for you, just because you've got a little bit more of stuff that you know about in terms of the quarterback. Because you've seen him be able to play for like the bulk of the season as opposed to a couple of games before he gets hurt. So where we don't really know what his ceiling is with Richardson yet. With Levis, as good as he looked against Houston, I think we know more about him.
Right, that's a great point. But we still have Vikings, too, which could be some of the easiest games.
Okay, well, not including division, then. I think this is going to be your guys' easiest game of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that. You said any like game that would be easy. That's why I mentioned the Vikings.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Vikings are going to be easy. I'm thinking the Vikings are easy. I know I told Peter this, but I wasn't really impressed with Will Levis last year, actually. He threw a lot of interceptions against the Texans game, too. And their kicker, what is kicking special teams going to be like this year with the new kicking ball, too? That's going to change a lot of these games.
Yeah, but taking competition for Green Bay is going to be interesting to see how if maybe Ernest Charleston will get more motivation with Greg Joseph signed.
Yeah.
It should be a training camp battle to look forward to.
Yeah.
Breaking news, really quick. This just came out. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. The Raiders signed former Giants Alex Black.
Interesting.
For wide receiver and special teams.
Huh. Okay.
Player. That was per Aaron Wilson today. Aaron Wilson writes for Texans News.
Yeah.
I saw that today.
That guy is safe from wearing those terrible throwbacks that the Giants have.
Yeah. What did you see that, Peter?
Yeah, those are awful.
What did you think about that?
They're absolutely hideous.
I mean, okay. I kind of like it, though. It shows history, in my opinion. It shows the history of the Giants, which I love.
Yeah, but, I mean, they had better options than that
For
one,
sure.
though.
The 80s throwbacks?
Yeah.
I love how it shows the history of the team.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just love that. Okay. We got off on a tangent because I just saw that.
Yeah, some throwbacks are better than others.
Yeah.
Although the weirdest one to me is still the Bumblebee ones that the Steelers had.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I do say I love how we're on a uniform talk right now. I love the zebra Bengals uniforms. Those are my favorites. Or the white tiger, whatever you call it. Those are some of my favorites.
Cincinnati White Tigers. That'll be another one.
It makes me laugh whenever I see
Yeah. I mean, the zebras are those extra ones that you guys have. Okay, I'm done. I had to get my one in for the week, right?
For the week? What? No.
Tigers don't have that many stripes.
Yeah, he's just joking with us. He hates the alternates. I know what he's talking about. He hates the Greek alternates. No, I do have to say the Bengals, the Bengal white ones would make more sense if they're their full uniforms, because if you guys do not know, the white tiger is known as the Bengal tiger. So I think it makes more sense rather than the orange, because the orange to me is like a normal tiger. So why might as well just be the tigers? I'm sorry. I think the white tigers.
Actually, on the note of uniforms, what are each of your guys' favorite throwback ones?
For what team?
For whichever's your favorite.
I just said mine. I love, I know it's not like an alternate. I love the Bengals ones.
Okay.
So, I don't know why. I think it's more majestic, more pleasingly seen to the eye.
Yeah.
I just love the look of them. And the helmet. I love the helmet of it too. This is my opinion.
I kind of like the all whites. For the all whites do look good on the Bengals and with the black stripes and everything.
Yes.
Right.
So Cincinnati White Tigers, I'll call them that from now on.
Did I just predict something else in the future?
As for the Packers throwbacks, I do like the 50s throwbacks more than when they had the blue ones.
Mm-hmm.
Although the blue one, the brown helmet was one of the other helmets was ugly as heck when they were wearing the throwback. If you take a look at the throwback uniforms the Packers had against the 49ers in the 2010 season, those looked iffy.
Yeah.
Also, one that I love I realize how there's an echo. I don't care anymore. The salute to service from the Packers. Those ones are so good. They should wear them more often. I know it's not considered a throwback, but I think they should use those more, in my opinion.
especially on near Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I love a lot of the salute to service line that came out. They did a really good job with that.
I think they should just wear them more, in my opinion.
Yeah, at least maybe maybe once at home, and if they have a special road version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Justin, do you want to talk with the Vikings?
Just getting back on track here. On Sunday, September 29th at Lambeau Field, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Vikings will be visiting Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers, 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. The first goal package game of the year. Um, all, little warning here. All three division games are goal package, so those fans better show up or at least sell their seats to Packers fans only. Um, and the Vikings should be an easy opponent, though Aaron Jones coming Aaron Jones coming back wearing a purple uniform is going to look it's going to look awkward. It's going to be a little bit heartbreaking to see, but we must make those revenge games awful for awful for him to once to forget. Basically, go run for less than 100 yards, like 75 to 95 yards, and sack Sam Darnold a lot, make him see ghosts at Lambeau, and then Minnesota later. And should be a double digit win both times. Should be a sweep.
That's a great point. One thing I have to know about is Justin Jefferson. He could be the biggest struggle. And Jordan Addison, also it would be Aaron Jones' revenge game, like Justin said before. Also, it would be at Lambeau, so that might take effect because Aaron Jones might miss Lambeau. I doubt it, but you never know.
I'm not sure how Justin Jefferson will produce well if he has Sam Darnold at quarterback because
Yeah,
he might be frustrated. Like he may be a big step
yeah,
down from Kirk Cousins.
that's a good point. Also, I don't think JJ McCarthy might not be the best. I don't think JJ McCarthy is like their quarterback in the future. I just don't think he's going to be their best quarterback. Also, what was I just going to say? I literally forgot what I was about to say. The skull chant. I don't know. That's not what I was about to say. Oh,
There shouldn't be any of that. There shouldn't be any of that at Lambeau.
right. Okay. Um, the Packers are better at both sides of the ball, like defense and offense.
You know, should be better in special teams as well.
Yeah, and special teams. Peter.
Yeah. The one thing I think that's the unknown with it that could kind of act as the catalyst of sorts for the Vikings, even taking the Aaron Jones stuff out of it for a minute. If they start 0-3, like I think they very well may, depending on what the start of their schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly be stunned if they don't try to get something going, especially with this being a division game, by bringing McCarthy in to start, and then that changes what the entire game plan would have to be like on the fly, because they don't even have to name the official starter. I think until like the either day before or day of.
Oh, that's a
So
good point. So you don't know who's going to start, is what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
because especially because I mean McCarthy, like the knock on him was that he was in charge of a very run heavy offense in college,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time then that means there's not a whole lot of tape on how to try to stop a passing game that he's running, and you put that with two talented guys like Addison and Justin Jefferson, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the 8 people that are watching the podcast and give
Hi,
us
everyone.
thoughts. I'm curious, like what you guys think of what we're saying so far. Are you
Yeah,
guys?
I definitely agree about the unsurability about who's going to start. If like Peter said, it was if the Vikings struggle a lot, like 0-3, and Sam Darnold throws a few picks, maybe the Vikings do switch to Jason McCarthy as the starter. for at least a couple games. And
Yeah,
I mean, as long as the Packers stop the run, they can pin the ears back and get after the quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, I think Jason McCarthy will struggle in his first year.
also, one thing to note is TJ Hawkinson did tear his ACL
Very
last
late in the season, so
in
He should be.
January.
yeah. So basically the end of the season. So he could be
Yep.
out for the whole season, or most of it anyway.
It's going to be concerning to watch that injury. Like, if he gets better, like, obviously he will. It's just what game will he come back from?
My guess would be week 10 or 11.
Yeah,
Yep.
probably about there.
Depending on how the Vikings are. If they're 1-9, don't bother.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He has a 3-year contract, right?
So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think
something
so.
along those lines. Yeah.
Okay. We have the wonderful Rams to talk about next. Matthew Stafford's backup is very good, and Matthew Stafford is not known for getting injured, but gets hurt quite a bit during the games. So I'm predicting that we probably lose this game, unfortunately.
I still have a feeling that the Packers have Matthew Stafford's number, even all these years later.
Yes, I agree, but they also have Cooper Cup, the wide receiver, and Puka Nakua, which was very good last season. The only thing I think it's going to be a very close. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think
It could be an offensive shoot. It could be an offensive shootout, considering the Rams defense will be a bit weaker without Aaron Donald.
right. I was going to say Aaron Donald did Aaron Donald did retire during the offseason. So that might make the Rams defense a little bit weaker, but also powerful at the same time. Because it's the next man up mentality that you have to think about. Who's going to fill in for Aaron Donald? We have not seen that yet this season. So I think it's going to be kind of fun.
Plus, it's always fun to see the coaching battle between Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur.
Right.
Even though Matt LaFleur has won each of the games in those things, like the 2020 playoffs, 2021 regular season, 2022 regular season, and then 2023 regular season. Even though 2023 was hampered, 2022 and 23 were hampered by the fact that Matthew Stafford didn't play. It was Baker Mayfield and then Sean. Darn it! Sorry,
You're fine.
something ripping. I'm not sure.
Yeah. He's on the Bears, I think. Now that I think about
Yeah.
it. Okay. What
Sorry, I
are
forgot that wrong about the backup quarterback for the Rams.
your thoughts about that game, Peter?
Yeah. I think. I mean, obviously, losing Donald hurts. That goes without saying.
Right.
But I think in some ways that can almost make their defense as a whole more dangerous because you don't have the one specific guy you have to key on stopping now either.
Right.
So now you have to be
True.
more aware of everyone and where they're at as opposed to just him specifically, and then you can handle the rest.
Yes.
So, but no, I think especially with Nakua, if Cup is healthy and Kyron Williams, I think that's going to be easily overall probably the toughest, at least one of the toughest tests in the first half of your guys' schedule.
Yeah.
So this could legitimately be where I see your guys' potentially first loss coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. It'll be a tough game regardless.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be like 50-50 crowd in terms of the Packers and Rams fans because there's a lot of Packers fans in Los Angeles in that area. So
One thing I do have to mention really quick is for some odd reason we do very, very bad in California, which is one thing that we have to worry about.
Yeah.
I was going to say one other point and I forgot.
well maybe the Rams will be the exception because those games in California were against the Chargers and Niners.
Right. And the Raiders last year.
Well, Raiders that was in Vegas.
Well, still the same kind of area.
Raiders should still be in Oakland for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the Cardinals.
Yep. 1 o'clock Eastern on October 13th, Week 6 at Lambeau Field on Fox. Probably won't be the A team. It's at the 1 o'clock spot. And I have a feeling that the Packers are going to wear their 50s throwbacks in this game. Even though I may be wrong. I'm just predicting things. Kyler Murray's always a threat in terms of his scrambling ability, but sorry, Pate is still available. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Back to what I was saying. I'm still hearing some weird echo. He could be dangerous on the run. Plus, the new weapon that they have, the Marvin Harrison Jr. could be a threat, even though we haven't seen him in the NFL yet. We'll see how that goes. I just think the Packers will take care of business by double digits at Lambeau. No weird jinxes with those players that the Packers forgot to pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I did figure out the mute situation. Sorry, Peter. I think
I was not sure who had.
No, I just figured it out by muting him. Sorry, Peter. There's an echo, like very badly. I've heard it. That's why you're just muted for now. One thing I do have to note is it is the Max Mellon brother matchup. It's the younger versus older brother. Peter, you can just unmute yourself.
That's weird because
Hey, sorry about that, guys.
You're fine.
Okay. Well,
hey everyone. How you doing, Pat Daddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good.
We're doing good. We were just talking about the Cardinals game. I don't know if you want to give your opinion about it or anything.
Well, I think the Cardinals are terrible, so I'm looking forward to it.
We were just mentioning how it is the Max Mellon and Bo Mellon matchup, the brother matchup.
Oh, yeah, that'll be good. Is everybody still upset we didn't get the other brother?
I was really. Didn't get Elijah Jones.
I didn't have a huge affinity for him, but I know Packer fans wanted him real bad.
Wait, Max Mellon?
Yeah. Yep.
I wanted him. I just wanted Elijah Jones better. I was a huge Elijah Jones fan. Or still am, but do you want to give your opinion about the schedule?
Sure, yeah. I mean, look, I think, first of all, it's supposedly going to be a really tough schedule. I don't really see it that way. I think a lot of the games are, I mean, you got to see how it goes. I don't think as highly of the Eagles as I think a lot of people are, considering how they ended last year. I think some people are worried about the Colts. Maybe they'll have a quarterback somewhere down the line, but I don't know that early on that's going to be a big amount of competition. The only real games you're scared of, we got real lucky. A lot of them end up being at home. We got the Texans at home. We got the 49ers at home. So it really just comes down to if the Packers can continue doing what they did last year and handle their business, they have no reason not to sail into the playoffs with double-digit wins. I mean, easily.
Okay. So what do you think about the Vikings this year?
I struggle with that. I mean, you try to look at it for every team to find a path for them to be really good. Aside from J.J. McCarthy just lighting up the league, which supposedly he needs time to kind of sit, and they're talking about maybe he won't even start till after the bye. I don't see a path for them to be a good football team, and they have a relatively difficult schedule, especially early on. So, I mean, you got Sam Darnold. I mean, their tight end isn't going to be back until mid-season. They're in rough shape, and Justin Jefferson is not going to be able to just drag this team to multiple wins. So I don't see them as a threat at all.
Also,
he's gonna lose his mind.
Yeah.
What's that?
Justin Jefferson's gonna lose his mind.
Oh yeah, it's gonna. Well, you kind of wonder about that, right? He seems like a good guy, but Stephon Diggs kind of forced his way out. You kind of wonder if things start to spiral. That's going to be a tough job for the head coach to kind of hold it together while they try to rebuild, because it's going to get rough.
Right. I also did see today, I don't know if you guys saw this, apparently Justin Jefferson hasn't been practicing at OTAs too.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's a part of it. He's holding out for a contract. It's probably just posturing. It's pretty standard, and they'll end up getting it done. But getting back to the whole locker room dynamic, I mean, it's kind of already putting out certain vibes that you probably don't want in your locker room.
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think about the Lions this year?
I mean, I'll give them respect. They've continued to kind of outperform what I think they will do every year. I kind of they're 1 or 2 games better than I expect. But you look at the end of the last season, the Packers are the better football team. I don't think anybody, including the Lions players, had any doubt about that. I remember Amon-Ra making a comment about you don't want to see the Packers, like they're a scary football team. He was warning his brother when the Bears were going over there, and they were talking on their podcast, and he was like, "You're right. I didn't realize how good they were." And I think the Lions know, but they would never admit it. But if they saw us in the playoffs, everybody talks about, well, they got farther than us. If we would have seen them in the playoffs, we would have beat them. The Packers are the better team. So I understand you got to give them credit because they won it last year. But I think if you look at it honestly and say who is the better team right now, I don't know how you could say it's the Lions.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, for the Lions, I have in my notes that Dan Campbell is too aggressive in terms of his going forward, like against the 49ers in the conference championship. And I think that aggressiveness messed him up, or that the aggressiveness didn't go well in that game. So Matt LaFleur will outcoach Dan Campbell, and I think the Packers can sweep the Lions. There'll be close games, but it'll be a sweep.
Yeah, I hope so.
Justin, were you about to ask something before I go on to the next thing, or no?
I was just trying to explain about how the Cardinals,
Oh, go ahead.
the Cardinals should be a double-digit victory. Not really scare of them. Just keep Kyler Murray in the pocket and force him to throw bad throws, and just take care of business.
Yeah, that team's a mess. Even if Kyler kind of steps it up, which he's been so inconsistent, and he's got massive injury issues. From the top down, from the ownership to all the way down, it's just it's just one of those teams that just can't get their stuff together. And the Packers are just a much more well-run organization, and it just usually doesn't go well for the not well-run organizations.
Yeah, but more cohesive.
What do you think about the Jaguars this year? Going to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that always scares everybody going down to Florida. I know that was a big Rodgers can't do it thing. I don't know. I don't super buy it, and I'm kind of glad it's a little bit later in the season. We're pushing November, so I don't think it's going to be like a 90-degree August day or anything like that. So they're one of those teams that's kind of on the verge. I don't know who I would necessarily completely compare them with, but they're not bad. Trevor Lawrence isn't a top 5 quarterback, but he's not bad. They have decent players. So I think it kind of goes in the category of the Packers are better and should win. But if they slip up, if they're playing half speed, if they're kind of sleeping through this thing a little bit, if they're not playing their best, this one will catch you off guard and you end up losing it.
Yeah, well, but for the Jaguars, humidity might still be a factor even in late October, but I still see the Jaguars maybe their spirits down a bit after they collapsed last year after starting 8-3 and they missed the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. So
that could still be a factor. Plus, Trevor is still waiting on a contract extension. So
true. Yeah.
We'll see how that happens. And so as long as they don't just sleepwalk through the game, it should be at least a 10-point victory for Green Bay. Made the Packers fans in Florida happy.
One thing that I do have to note is it's Darnell Savage revenge game as well.
That's true. Yeah, I think. I don't know if this is legit or not, but I was kind of just poking through PFF and the way that they have the alignments, and they had Savage in the slot. So I don't know if that's something that they're going to be working on, or if that's just kind of a speculation that's not going to come true.
Interesting. And also, as we're talking, I was looking up the average temperature for Jacksonville in October. It's saying 82 for the high, 64 for the rain or low. So
we'll hope hopefully not in the 80s.
Yeah, it's because I live in Florida, not like.
Oh, okay.
I live like in the Everglades area, so it's hot, but it's 83 right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be brutal for the next few months.
Yeah.
You both down there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
He lives like 30 minutes away from me.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And we didn't even know each other oddly enough till we started, or till Twitter, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, we've seen each other a couple of times, and hopefully many more between the draft next year.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of like close by it, the Bears. Caleb Williams, what do you think about that whole thing?
I mean, I can't just outright dismiss it, but I think it is a little funny the way that the Bears get treated with kid gloves, man. They're like 5-year-olds. When they draw a little spaghetti drawing or something, and mom puts it on the fridge and tells you how wonderful it is. I mean, every little thing they do is just like the most amazing thing. It's like, come on, guys. They didn't do that much. They got Caleb handed to them, and if he's great, they're going to be great. But that's it. They haven't done anything. They talk about DeAndre Swift. Who cares? Nobody's scared of DeAndre Swift. Why do I care about DeAndre Swift? So, I mean, they've got one guy in the defensive line who's probably a top 20 pass rusher. I don't know that he's much better than that. They went out and got a safety. Congratulations. You lost a safety because of cap mismanagement. You got a corner who was the number one corner last year, but he's not going to be next year. He's going to regress. That's how that goes. Doesn't mean bad, but he's not going to be as good as he was last year. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations on having DJ Moore, who you got because you were terrible and were able to trade away the top pick because you were the worst team in football. Congratulations on paying a 32-year-old wide receiver and giving up a 4th-round pick to do it, which was dumb. And then congratulations on getting another receiver, which is like the least of your needs right now when you should have traded that pick. It was a terrible decision. The draft was awful. Everything they did aside from Caleb Williams was a disaster. This team is a joke, and if they win, it's a travesty of justice. They don't deserve to win because they're so poorly run. But maybe Caleb would be good, but I'm hoping desperately that the Packers just make them look foolish, and we can be done with this nonsense.
Just so you know, there's Bears fan in the chat right now.
One thing to know about that the first Bears game is the week before the 49ers game. So the Packers have to focus on the Bears and then go to the 49ers because division rivals are always first.
Right.
And always winning against the Bears has been a common thing in the Matt LaFleur era. 10-0 so far. Let's make that 12-0, and then 14-0, and then 16-0, etc.
I was also going to say about that, remember, guys, Preston Smith is undefeated against the Bears.
Yeah, that's right, going back to Washington.
No. I do like the Week 10 bye. A lot of people are like sleeping on that a lot. Oh, I think it's great. Middle of the season, kind of. Yeah,
it's kind of perfect, and it's funny because we always have guys break out right around there. That was Christian Watson in his rookie year, broke out right around there. You had Jordan Love last year break out right around there. You had Luke Musgrave last year kind of around that range breakout. So it seems like a couple of the young guys, we'll see who it is this year. Maybe Bullard or something kind of breaks out. But, yeah, that seems like a good time to kind of reset. And plus, you got a tough stretch. So get healthy, get ready to go. Get feeling good after you beat the Bears, and then get on that kind of tough stretch. 49ers, Dolphins, Lions, Seahawks, they're kind of but they're a borderline playoff team, and it's on the road, and it's after all these, tough matchups. So it'll be good.
What do you think of that game? Obviously, it's going to be at Lambeau. Possible snowy game.
Yeah. The 49ers are weird. I mean, Keyshawn Nixon said it best at his locker room thing. He said, we let him off the hook, and that's what it was. The Packers should have won that game. But it's just kind of like the Rams on the other side where it doesn't really matter. We always beat the Rams. It's just we're just better than them. Matt LaFleur knows how to outcoach them. It just is what it is. The 49ers, man, I hate them, and I can't stand that we play them every year, and I just don't feel good about it. I wish I did, and I know they can from a talent standpoint. It just seems like there's something stuck in their brains. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know if it's a coaching thing where, Shanahan has just kind of got a leg up or what, but they have to beat that team because I know we've done it a couple times here and there in the last 5 years or so, but we got to break this curse or we're just never going to get to the Super Bowl.
What?
To steal a line from Steve Young, the Super Bowl is like, get this monkey off my back, please.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
We need to get
And-
that 49ers monkey off our backs.
It's probably good that we are playing them. You know, this is they got to shake this. You know what happened last year. We can't face them for the first time in the playoffs again. Prove that you can do it right here, week 12, and then you're set. There's nothing in your way anymore.
425 game of the week on Fox at Lambeau. Shouldn't be too that. There shouldn't be that much red at Lambeau. It's like it should be a very tough game, very close, but I'm hoping the Packers pull it out.
Yeah.
Players that we have to know about that's coming back is Devondre Campbell, his revenge game against us, and Patrick Taylor. They're both of their revenge games.
Not afraid.
Yeah, he's Devondre's in such a bad situation. I mean, it would suck if he went to like the 49ers or something. And it's like, oh, come on, man. You're going to ride the coattails of that team and then try to rub it in our face. But I can't imagine. And he really was not looking super good last year. Not trying to be bitter or anything like that. But it just, he just seemed like the age was kind of catching up to him. He was slowing down a little bit down the stretch. And he just doesn't massively frighten me, I don't think.
Also, one thing to note that Drake Greenlaw might still be out because of the Achilles injury he suffered in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay.
You know, if anything, the 49ers have been cursed in the Super Bowl since
right.
Since the Harbaugh Bowl. Basically, they haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years.
That's crazy. I'd feel bad for him if I didn't despise him so much.
Yeah, screw the 49ers.
You guys said it, not me.
Next up is the
Yes.
hopefully Jordan Love gets a full turducken against Miami. They play at Lambeau on Thanksgiving night on NBC. November 28th. You know, the Dolphins have struggled. The Dolphins are one of those teams that have struggled in the past in cold weather conditions. And late November 28th, that's gonna be like almost peak winter, peak football cold weather. So I think that the Packers will have the weather advantage there. But also, you know, make sure to not give Tua time to throw to Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, OBJ, and I think the Packers will run over that defense of theirs.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point with the weather. You kind of hope it's a blizzard because I mean their whole game is speed. You know, sending guys way down the field and Tua just uncorking it. That's not easy to do when you got sideways winds and snow and wet conditions and everything else. That's when you want to settle down and run the ball. And Miami's not built for that. The Packers are built for that. We've got of our three top running backs, our lightest running back is 220 pounds. So we're set for December football. And I just don't know that Miami, you know, they're set for dome stadiums and just launching it down the field and everything. So that would be ideal if we could get that.
One thing to note about this game is it's OBJ on the offense. Jalen Ramsey, too.
Yep.
Joe Barry. He's
Not afraid.
That's right.
I'm not afraid of anybody. Just bring it all on. Not afraid of anybody.
I just became less afraid when you mentioned Joe Barry.
Even though he is just the linebackers coach.
Yeah.
That's what scares me. Apparently, he was a really, really good linebackers coach.
Yeah.
But what do you think of Jeff Halfley? We really didn't mention it.
So far, so good. I mean, it's all talk until they put it on the field. But, I mean, it's already looked different to me. And I don't want to sound cliche because you can say that about everybody that comes in. But, you know, so far with everybody else petting and whatnot, it's all just talk. Well, he's real high energy and he's a real tough guy. And, you know, we're going to do this and that. You know, you watch the first practice, the one that was available to the media, and the first things we see are Jair and McKinney punching the ball out. You know, and you see the linebackers, they're running the padded drills. They rip to the side and punch the ball out. You know, and they're doing interception drills. I mean, they talk about we're going to be attacking. They talk about attack the ball. They talk about takeaways, and they practice it. Not just say it. Not just say we're going to be aggressive and then play soft off-man coverage. Actually deliver and every day not just talk about it and drill it into their heads, but put it on the practice field so that it translates onto the field. So, again, we still got to see it happen, but it's really nice to see the changes and the change of pace and tempo and everything else that's taking place that kind of backs up the talk so far.
Changing culture.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
And
big time.
we really didn't mention on this podcast is what Xavier McKinney said a couple days ago, or might have been today. This is the best group I've been a part of since I've been in the league. Xavier McKinney, the safety.
Yeah, that one surprised me a little bit. I had to think back to who. I mean, I don't want to be mean and say he's played with bums. I don't know who he's played with exactly, but I mean, if he's saying that about the rookies we went out and got, that's some high praise for some guys that are fresh out of the league. But I think he may have been kind of expanding that out to the rest of the defense. I know at first he was talking about the safeties, but and it's true. We think about these guys sometimes in disparaging terms about being a bad defense, but Brian Gutekunst has done nothing but stack the most elite guy. I mean, very few defenses have this level of elite talent on a team. It's just a matter of can somebody put it together. So it shouldn't be, I guess, all that surprising to have somebody come in and just be like, holy cow, these guys are actually kind of freakish, because that's all they are. They're a bunch of first-round freaks. So hopefully they can figure it out.
I like the point that you said about Brian Gutekunst, because when we bring in like a veteran, like we did this year, Josh Jacobs, for instance, Xavier McKinney, we backed it up with rookies.
Yeah.
We backed it up enough. I think we're going to be okay.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Lloyd, yeah. And the rookie that we got from undrafted Regent, the running back. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about Josh Jacobs coming to the Packers?
I like him. I mean, I highlighted him beforehand. There's talk about running backs and would you rather have Saquon Barkley or whatever. And I said, no, I wouldn't rather have Saquon Barkley. I mean, Josh Jacobs was, obviously last year wasn't great. The Raiders just kind of collapsed, and it seemed like he was a part of it. But 2 years ago, again, going back to PFF, they had him as the number one running back in football. I mean, he's incredibly gifted. He's exactly the type of running back that Brian Gutekunst wants. They can put more on his shoulders and not have to limit his snap counts because he's a smaller guy like Aaron Jones. And like you said, they back it up with, it wasn't like an all-in move either, as much as it seems like we're going to spend all this money on like the top running back. Well, they gave him like a 2-year deal, and we went out and drafted a guy. So if it doesn't work out, we move on from him and we get this guy. So, right. I mean, everything about it is pretty fantastic. I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be a really talented guy. I think it's going to be a great backfield. And again, even if it doesn't pan out, we got plan B ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
Right. Jordan Love contract. When do you think it's going to happen?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, you'd have to know kind of where they're at, if they're far apart or not. Mm-hmm. I'm envisioning, and this is obviously just in my imagination, but I'm just envisioning right now as kind of the posturing phase, where nobody wants to pick up the phone first. Well, I'm not scared. They're playing chicken kind of thing. I think this could potentially ride out because what was it? It was, when you look at the Jets and the Rodgers situation, I remember everybody talking about how, the longer you wait, the longer it's bad for the Packers or whatever, because they're going to start getting scared and sweating. But really what happened is all the other quarterbacks dried up. And at the end of the day, the Packers held the cards and they ended up winning it. And I could see that happening here where the agent's like, well, let's let everybody else get paid so then we get the bigger check. The problem is go ahead.
Oh, it's like Dak and Tua.
Yeah, and Lawrence and yeah. But the problem is the Packers know that he's never going to play without a contract. So, the longer it gets toward it, the more it's just going to be panic on their end. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's a lot of bolstering and puffing out your chest and all that. But at the end of the day, they both want to get it done. It's just a matter of kind of trying to find out where they're at. And I don't know. I don't know the best way to attack this or approach this. I don't know how the Packers or even Jordan Love feels. Mm-hmm. Whether or not, maybe he wants a smaller contract so that he can prove himself and get that number one quarterback type of money, or if he just wants to take the slightly less and just give me the fully longer guaranteed thing. I don't know. But, it just kind of comes down to if they're close, they can just get it done. But I have a feeling this is going to ride out. And it's probably going to go through up until the nitty-gritty, kind of like when a lot of these contracts get done right around training camp kind of thing, which there's going to be a lot of talk about, well, it's not going to get done, and there's going to be rumors about what ifs, and it'll end up getting done. But you got to let Gutekunst do his Gutekunst thing and act like the tough guy and push everybody around, and eventually it gets done.
Plus Russ Ball.
And Russ Ball, yeah. Russ Ball's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm not afraid. I'm sure they'll get the deal. I'm sure they'll get the deal done before training
Yes.
camp, and
Yeah.
it'll be worth it.
Yep.
For me, I would say wait until training camp is not done, like about to start, because I'm thinking that's when a lot of the quarterbacks are going to try to get deals done. Dak, I've heard Dak wants to be a free agent. How's that going to look out?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm not sure who wants Dak.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Dallas is in a tough spot, kind of like almost feels like the Vikings with Cousins or whatever. Where it feels like they really want to let him go, but they're too scared to, so they just keep paying him. It's a really weird situation.
So, what's your opinion on the Cowboys not getting a quarterback for this year's draft? Do you think they should have?
Well, I mean, maybe if they were in a different situation, they would have. But I mean, I was always kind of the mind they were just going to end up ponying up, and I think they kind of knew that. So we'll see how it pans out. But yeah, I mean, if they were picking top 5, maybe they'd have gone a different direction. But I think they're just going to have to ride with Dak.
That's that silly all-in run, all in my ass.
Yeah.
That's what's good. Oh goodness, that was funny. Let's see what's next on the.
Seattle.
Do you have the next game, Mary?
Seattle. Yeah, I got it. The Seahawks. Metcalf. It's at Seattle, like you said. Geno Stone. The Packers are easily the better team.
That place
Yeah.
is out of the boards.
You know, I mean, the Packers have had some good luck against them. I think a lot of it has been in Lambeau. I know there was kind of that back and forth thing, but I mean, Seattle's been kind of struggling. They've been able to stay afloat more than I thought. I thought they would have collapsed a long time ago, but they keep kind of pulling stuff out, especially like they got Geno, who was better than expected. But I just think they continue to spiral. They really look bad down the stretch last year, and that may be just a function of their team as well. I don't know exactly the age of the guys, but I know sometimes you get some older teams, and by the end of the year, they really start falling apart. The only thing that kind of makes me nervous, like I said, is it's a kind of a brutal schedule before that, and then it's a really long, flight out there. But as long as they're locked in, the Packers are playing their best football. That shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
One thing I'm glad that one thing that is good for the Packers schedule is that in my notes it says that's the only stretch of back-to-back road games. The games are 10 days apart, so there's plenty of rest between games at Detroit, and then 10 days later go to Seattle. So there's not that much. It's not that much issue in terms of travel fatigue and stuff like that. So I think the Packers will be in good shape.
Yeah, that Detroit game is Thursday. That's right. So that's some extra days.
Thursday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the longest or the shortest stretch is between the 49ers and the Dolphins, because that's 4 days in between them both. It's like we don't have a bye in those 2 games.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. The last game that we have is the Saints. Taysom Hill.
That's going to be a cakewalk.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's going to be a cakewalk game. 56-3 prediction.
Ooh.
I just kept seeing they were going to have an expanded role for Taysom Hill, and every time I saw that, I was like, well, then it sounds like you just don't have a plan. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of have respect for the Saints. I guess I don't know why. They're one of those teams that just kind of plays tough. But with Carr now, and things are just kind of falling apart. I mean, they had a really good defense for a while, but I don't know that they necessarily have that. Those pieces are kind of starting to dissipate. So I mean, it's Carr and Olave and Kamara. How old is Kamara now? I guess he's only 29. He's almost. It feels like he's been in the league for 10 years. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we beat them last year when we basically played for one quarter. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do it again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be an easy Monday Night Football victory.
Yeah.
5 primetime games in a row.
It's crazy.
That's all the games that I wrote about. Justin, do you have any more? I know, because the last 2 are just like divisional again.
Yeah, it's another coincidence that the Packers played against the Vikings in Week 17 again. That's been the case for the past few years.
Also,
doesn't matter if it's at Lambeau or it's at Minnesota, the Packers will win.
Yeah, just the fact that the Packers played the Bears at Lambeau again in Week 18. Isn't it supposed to flip back and forth every year? Right?
I don't know. They should just lock that in Minnesota and Chicago the last 2 weeks every year.
Right, but they should flip it, I feel like, between like stadiums, like week 18. Like,
Right.
because last year it was at Lambeau. So you would think it would be like at Chicago this year for week 18. I don't know.
I'm just relieved. A couple of notes I have is
Yeah, go ahead.
the Brazil game is the only international game they played. There's no London games. There's no Germany games. Well, maybe they can play in Germany one year, or Australia, or heck, Madrid. I'm not sure. These international games are crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the Packers don't play on Christmas because Wednesday football is going to be awkward for Ravens, Texans, and Chiefs, Steelers.
Yeah, that's gonna feel weird.
And on Netflix, so not any network TV.
Yep.
That's why I don't like some more streaming exclusive games. It's just ridiculous. Like people have to pay more to see all their games. I'm just gonna do NFL Plus with Red Zone, so I'll be able to see most of the games.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where that's going to be the cheapest way to do it.
I was able to see the Peacock games on the NFL Plus, no issue.
Yeah,
So,
right.
That's good. Justin, do you have any more notes?
Other than what I put in,
Yeah.
not really. Although the Seahawks, I knew that it's going to be a new era in Seattle. Pete Carroll's no longer there. There's still a lot of environment in Seattle, the 12th man and everything. It's been a house of horrors for far too long. And I think the Packers will break that losing streak there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, most of these games, I mean, they're losable if the Packers don't show up. But, I mean, they're better than these teams. I mean, you can make a case for Miami, San Francisco, Houston if you want. But, I mean, I think the Packers are one of the best, if not the best teams going into the postseason last year. And all they have to do, and this is the thing I always felt like with Aaron Rodgers, if you just play your best, nobody's better than you, and you're going to win the Super Bowl. Just go play your best football. But for whatever reason, we see what we saw last year with San Francisco and all this kind of stuff. But there's no reason to be scared of anybody because we have more talent and we got a better coach and better quarterback than everybody else. So just as long as they can go out and play their best, we're going to dominate.
For sure.
And I say the prediction for the Packers wins is between 12 and 15 wins to me. 12 and 5 at the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No excuse to women. No excuse to not win the division or get one of the top seeds in the conference. To hopefully the Packers get the top seed in the NFC, so the Packers can host the conference championship at Lambeau and not have to go to St. Clair or Detroit or any of those places.
Dallas.
Right.
Oh my God! Imagine it being hosted at
I don't think Dallas will go. I don't think Dallas will go that far.
I don't think so either. Just imagine for the old time's sake.
Division winner for NFC East is going to be either Eagles or Commanders.
Yeah, I'm thinking Commanders. Commanders have a sneaky roster, kind of. I think that's one that no one's looking at.
Yeah, well, it's another one too where it kind of comes down to the quarterback.
Right.
They could surprise a lot of people if that quarterback can surprise people.
Yeah.
Yes, Justin, do you have any more thoughts about the?
Yeah, I just wish that a certain game in Week 7 was prime time against Houston.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
that is surprising.
Yeah.
Given the just 6 primetime games is ridiculous. Like, we're not sure if Aaron Rodgers is going to stay the whole season healthy.
Right.
Well, did you see that every single one of those primetime games was front-loaded? Second half of the season, they have 0.
I guess they want to make sure. It's like
exactly.
just I
did not notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like every other week they have a primetime game through the first 8 weeks, and then it's 0.
Wow. That's the same like the Giants, though, too. Like, look at the Giants. Yeah, the Giants have a lot of primetime games.
And a bad coincidence for Week 1, Rodgers goes to San Francisco, faces childhood team.
Yeah.
And then the same defender who sacked him in Week 1 of last year and helped injured. Well, not sure if it was Floyd or if it should also played a factor because Floyd was the one that sacked him and messed. Although I thought the injury, the Achilles plucked like a guitar string before the sack was complete. So same defender. I don't think the 49ers don't play on turf. I think so. It should be a healthier game for Rodgers Week 1.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that one.
I'm excited that that's like Monday Night Football again. When Rodgers got hurt, Monday Night Football again.
Yeah, right.
That's the one game one primetime game I hope the Jets win because I hate the 49ers more.
Yeah, that and they got a game against the Vikings too. I'm hoping he can still
In
pull
London,
that one
yeah.
out.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Isn't that at? No, that's at.
It's in London.
London.
Oh yeah.
And it's odd enough because if you guys remember, it was Rodgers and the Giants in London.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was
was
bad.
week 5 again at London. I just noticed when that match, and I mean,
I feel like we're a bunch of conspiracy theorists or something. There's a hidden code in here somewhere.
I mean, I've already predicted something right this season. Just saying. I predict.
Or
I
the teacher from the Incredibles. Coincidence? I think not.
I pretty much predicted Elijah Jones. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much. I don't know. Justin, do you have any more notes or thoughts?
I think that hit everything.
That's what. Yeah.
Just excited for the schedule to play out and wait for another few months for actual football to be played.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, sorry for jumping on late. It was one of those things. I saw your messages and I was like, "Oh no, what did I have the time wrong?" And I looked and I'm like, "It says 8," and then I kept reading and I'm like, "Oh no, 8 Eastern."
Oh yeah, because we're both on Eastern time, so
I just assume I don't know why I forget that there's other time zones.
No, I that's like on me.
I did put in 7 Central.
You did. I skim everything I read. I just saw an 8. I'm like, all right, 8's fine.
No, you probably went to mine because I told you 8 Eastern.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
that could be.
That's the thing, and I usually tell the guest link, but I was like,
No, I just that was my. You said 8 Eastern. I should be able to figure that out.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. And I did look it up, and San Francisco plays on grass, so that might be.
Yeah.
Every team should play on grass.
Yes, I agree.
As long as they maintain it well.
Yep.
Do you guys have any final thoughts, or where people can find you guys?
You can find me at on Twitter /X. I still call it Twitter at Justin_Amandro AMANDRO. I'll be you'll be seeing me a lot of times as the main co-host for this podcast. And Pat Day, thank you for being on the show, and we forgive you for the tardiness this time.
Yeah, and I got Packernet Podcast. You can check that out daily wherever you get your podcasts. And as far as final thoughts, I don't know. Like you said, I'm just excited to get it going. I'm glad we got a little bit going on with the OTAs. We can kind of just little appetizers to keep us satiated until the season starts. But yeah, I'm ready to see these guys start flying around.
Yeah, me too. Do you have any questions for us? We usually do that first, but whatever.
Oh boy,
it's kind of difficult.
It is on the spot.
I do this everyone with on the spot if that makes you feel better.
Does everybody else stutter like I'm doing?
Dan Kotnick did, if that makes you feel better.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
I will tell you, we have a special guest coming on in July.
Okay, well, that's my question. Who's your special guest?
Tom Grossi, Fan of the Year, is coming
on. Oh, there you go. Look at you.
Well, the thing is, Justin and I had the privilege of meeting him during 30 and 30 at Tampa. So he's coming on. So, yeah.
Very good. And well done.
We're just happy.
I'm sure hopefully he still remembers us from that day.
Well, I don't know. With all those challenges that he's doing for the international thing, the international tour, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Busy guy.
Yeah. We appreciate all he does, honestly.
Yep. For sure.
Weren't you live when the Packers signed Xavier McKinney, or was that after? I can't remember. I was on that live stream for free agency. Was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I was
it's possible.
I didn't chat.
Yeah, it might have been. I can't. It's funny. I got a call-in show, and people will call in and reference, be like, something that I talked about yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what the podcast topic is, or somebody will reach out and say, hey, I liked your podcast today. I'm like, I don't remember what it was about. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you anything that I've done beyond 20 minutes ago.
Oh no. And for me, you can find me pretty much every Wednesday and Friday on here. We are taking off in June because of the start of hurricane season. Hurricane season starts in June. And we got told it was supposed to be a bad one again this year.
Oh boy.
I thought Ian was bad. Unfortunately not.
And also we need time to improve our craft and
Yes.
make sure we have a better product for all of you.
I think this one was better based on a lot of people and stuff. And
Good.
There's always room to improve.
Yeah, for sure. And Friday, you will not see Justin, but I will have Nick B, who interviewed Tom Grossi, Fan of the Year, back then in March, which is going to be fun. He's from Oregon State, or Oregon, whatever you say it. And like I said in the intro, you guys can find us on the Podcast Boys Network. And you can find us on YouTube at Mac Podcast 365, at Mac Podcast 20. It's like in the red, which doesn't help. At Mac Podcast 2023 on Twitter, or and Facebook at Mac and Cheese Podcast. I can send this to you if you want Pack Daddy to post on your media or whatever.
Sure, yeah, I'll share it around. Or if you just post it, I can, share it around.
Yeah.